May this afternoon bring a lot of pleasant surprises for you and fills your heart with infinite joy. Wishing you a very warm and love filled afternoon present over here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. It gives me a great pleasure to extend a cool welcome in this hot summer. On behalf of Government Engineering College Banka Science and Technology Department, which are conducting Parva 2021. In this event today, we have a special speaker over here. It would be my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Jivesh Prashun sir. He has over 10 years of experience in the field of finite elements analysis. Formerly, he worked as CAE analyst in Tata Motors HR John Deere. He is BTech from GRKIST Jabalpur from Mechanical Department and MTech from Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow from Design Engineering. We are very happy to see your presence over here in this webinar, Finite Elements of Analysis. I am welcoming you for this session and I hand over this to Jivesh sir. Now continue, sir.
Blender. So we are the team for this design and development of all the bikes and scooters developed at Hero MotoCorp. Prior to joining Hero MotoCorp, I have experience in Tata Motors, John Deere, Eicher. So I'm here from last 5 years at Jaipur location. So this topic is the area where I work from last 10 years. So this is just understanding, because once you start thinking of finite element analysis, then it is something like vibration. So it makes you feel like it is a very tough subject or something. So I've just tried to cover the things which is very practical, so that you can understand how it is happening and how you can come out of the books. So in books, we have so many formulas, so many equations, so many things to consider or anything. So how can we relate it to our actual world? So how these books and learning at college is very helpful. So these things I will come up with, and then I think it will be interactive session. But since I have joined you in very short span of time, and then I'm working in office hours. So this is my office hours, since it is a work from home. So I have taken a chance to in my lunch, so that I can talk with you people. So it is not just a lecture or something. It is an interaction session. So once I will finish it, so you can ask me questions. What are your thoughts, and how you can want to proceed, so I can help. Meanwhile, if you need anything after this session, you can talk with Vikas, and you can consult me. I'm not in Facebook, not on Twitter, not on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn, but I have started just 2-3 months back, when I was bored at home doing these things. When I was alone, my wife was not there, so I have started doing LinkedIn. So I'm not on any social media or anywhere. So you can directly contact me through my mail ID or through Vikas. So here it is, and then I'm going to present a small presentation, and through this I will speak on each and every topic. So let's start. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So have you seen this kind of picture anywhere in your course book or anywhere in internet somewhere? So this is a session where we are going to talk about the practical aspect of finite element analysis. As the name suggests, this is a finite problem, not an infinite problem. So anything which exists in the world, whatever is the actual real life problem. I may not be able to see the chat. I have heard a sound. I will not be able to see it, because in this there is no option to have another bar on the right side. So let's start. So let's first think of how do we get a finished product. Once you get a product, let it be a bicycle, let it be a bottle, or a bat or anything. So anything that has happened, what have been developed and invented, is because of necessity is the mother of invention. So necessity comes with a problem. Like if you say the wheel has been developed by the first mechanical device, let's say example. So the problem was our ancestors want to go long distance with less effort. So that was the problem. So then somebody has the idea to make that problem a, a physical thing. So that idea need to be implemented and that need to be designed. So once it is designed, then we need to develop it. So you think it and you design it and your brain. So you, in your strength of materials, in your machine design, you have a problem of design a shaft. So how it happens? So you make it on paper pencil. So you want to make a shaft like a rear axle or a front axle. So you know the force values and all. So you go to a developer, or you can go to any shop, a floor shop, and then you develop it. Once it is developed, then we get our product. So this is a thorough idea. So if you go in detail to anything, so how idea is developed, how we do brainstorming and everything, there is a lot many things, subcategories of on each and every point. So we have to discuss on design. Here we are on design. So how things are designed. So this is a design process. Once you get an idea, you develop it using a CAD. So I think you guys have learned, or you guys have come to know what is CAD, CAM, and CAE. So CAD is computer design, where you make a geometry of your idea and your sketch and everything. You make a geometry, and that geometry may be of 3D model or maybe a 2D model. So this CATIA, ProE, SolidWorks, there are so many softwares which make these kind of CAD model. Then what you do a virtual test, and then you build it and then test it again. So a physical testing happens. So between design to test, there are two options, a virtual test and a build. So where FEA comes into. So the role of finite element analysis begins at virtual test stage. So this is a design process. In this design process, we do a virtual testing, because if you think of that very old stage when there was no FEA, then you used to design something, then you build it. So you build it using so many resources, your manpower, your material, and then you test it, and once it fails, again you design it. So once the virtual testing comes into the loop, so whatever the testing which you are going to do is done using a virtual test. So this virtual test, if you say a lump sum what is FEA, so you can say we are simulating a test using a virtual. Like if you see any National Geographic channel, Discovery Channel, and then you see somewhere of pilot doing a virtual testing. So they directly don't go to aeroplane to fly. They firstly do a virtual testing. So that virtual testing is not something, it is a simulation. So let's start with what is FEA. This is nothing but a numerical method of solving engineering or mathematical problems. It is nothing else. It is just a numerical method for solving the problems of engineering and mathematical physics. And why it is useful? Because in your course book, you work for a cantilever, so you make so many equations. But in real life problem, you don't face a cantilever, only a simple design of cantilever. And then you don't see a simply supported beam. But that simply supported beam is just an idea to replicate your real life problem. So this is the problem where you go understand the basics and then you implement in FEA. So once you have a complicated geometry, complicated loads, then you have not isotropic material. It is isotropic material. There is no any isotropic. There is changing material. There is rubber. There is steel. There is aluminum. Then how you obtain a solution for this? So this is just an animation. You see, this is very commonly seen by everyone. This is a crash test of a car. So do you know how it is done? It is done in FEA also. But why we do it in FEA? Because once you develop a car, it takes a lot of effort and lot of component. Then you go and hit it. So what happens? It breaks each and everything. And then if the model is get cracked, then it is not passes the crash criteria, then again we have to design it. Again we have to build it. So the cycle time of any development will be increased. So right now, if you say, if you start a design from scratch, from zero, then you get a finished product in 3 years. But if you go in that loop when there is no virtual testing or no anything, then it may take 6 years or more than 6 years. Earlier, when I was in Tata, I know very senior people, they used to say they started a design of a bus, LPO 1512. Whatever the bus you sit on Tata Motors, there is LPO 1512. So they started designing it in mid 95 and they launched it in 2002. So these are the time, and now we started designing a bike on you say on 2016 and 2018 November or December we release it to the market because we have decreased the span time of this build and test. So all these iterations of design can be done before that. So in this way, FEA is very helpful to real life problem. So why FEA? Helpful for solving problems of engineering. So what are the engineering the questions comes? What are the engineering problems? So let's take an example of a cycle. What are the engineering problems we can face? This is a cycle, and what are the problems you can face? So I have listed some of the problems. What is the strength of frame? So if a person say a weight of 85 kg sits on this cycle, will it break? Or it can sustain a weight of 200 kg also. If you see in our villages, people used to put so many bags on it and rope it and then you go. So whether it is designed for this many of loads, then what is the impact strength of wheel? So you remember when you are cycling, you go on very speed and then it comes a breaker. So you feel a sudden jerk. So that jerk is taken care by the wheel. So what is the impact strength of that wheel? This is a very common things and very top of the things. Then what is the strength of pedal? So you remember we used to cycle on standing it. So if a person of 160 kg stand on that pedal, will it break? So these are the question. What is the strength of carrier? So if you say a person with 100 kg sits on a carrier, will it go to its full life or it will break after certain kilometer? So what is the natural frequency of the frame? So why natural frequency? Whether there is any resonance will happen because your road gives a certain frequency. There is a certain operating frequency comes from the road. So will it lies in between those operating frequency? So what is the fatigue life of pedal? How many times you can pedal it, and what is the cycle it will fail? What is the strength of a stand? So when you apply a stand and you sit on it, so will it pass or it will bend? So what is the structural efficiency of frame? There are many questions. What is the strength of rear axle? What is the strength of front axle? What is the frequency response of chain case? etc. If you note it down, there are many questions. So can you be able to solve it using paper pencil or using your traditional approach and all? But obviously those things are required, because when you talk about the strength and then you think of it, you will see when you fix here, if you see, this is a kind of a simply supported beam, right? So you fix it somewhere here, and here, and then you have applied a load on this from here. So these are the weight of the frame, and then a rider sits here, a 75 kg rider. So what is the weight? And so this is the basic things which you study in your university, and then you have to implement it here. So this way you have to think. So you make a line diagram and then you design a frame. So how do you solve engineering problems? Engineering problems are solved using these methods. So this is analytical method. This is a classical approach, 100% accurate result, and then you use it on your formulas, and there are beams, generic formulas. There are governing equations of a cantilever beam, supported beams. These are the things. Then it comes a numerical method, where you have a mathematical representation of your real life problem. And today we are going to discuss on this numerical method. This is a numerical method where you when you represent a real life problem to a numerical problem. So once you have a a frame. So what you do, you make a line diagram. So is it the same? Yes, you are representing something, a bigger model to a line diagram model, so that you can make it a simple. So similarly, any analytical problem can be converted into a numerical problem. And there is another experimental methods. So what is this experimental method? It is nothing but you apply some measuring devices, like you have a strain gauge, you have accelerometer. So you apply there and you measure what is the strain value, what is the acceleration value. So these way you check, you have a pressure film where you can take a pressure. Then you go for fatigue testing rig and you apply number of loads, and then you see at how many cycles it fails. So these are the things happening. So with these three ways, you can solve any problem. Be it analytical method, numerical method, and experimental method. So then it comes a time trade-off. So if you have analytical method of solving, say if a company is working with analytical method and you get a product which is of frame, then you will end up of doing solving the problems, governing equation, deriving a governing equation with I think more than two or 3 months. So it is a trade-off of a time. It is 100% accurate, but you are investing lot money of time, and then iterations are very difficult to go ahead. Then it comes numerical method. It is a very a representation model where you made some assumptions. There are some assumptions, and then you see what assumptions will it reflect a result, will it alter the result. So if it is not altering the result, so we say we can go ahead. So if you see in your numerical problems, when anything coming to 0.000001, so what you say in your course book, you in your note, and we neglect it because it is very negligible. So the similar way, if any assumptions which we are going to take, that can be neglected, but it has a significance in the real world. But in solving a numerical method, it can be neglected. And then experimental method is a costly method where you need a product, you need a manpower to paste it, and then you run it, and a lot of money, a lot of effort and everything. So this numerical method is widely accepted. So you can finite element method, finite boundary method, finite volume method, CFD, NVH, all those things are done on this numerical method. So today we are going to discuss with this. If you find a numerical method, it is very something like if you think it is very clumsy or something, it is very hard to understand. It is nothing is like that. If you go to course book, yes, it is hard to understand, but I have opted it for just make it a practical approach. So say I will go through what is analytical method. So you get a cantilever beam. So you apply a load from here, and you want to know the deflection at point Y. So this is a cantilever beam. You apply a load here, and then this is a Y. You want to know what is the value of Y. So you have this problem governing equation, and then you solve it, you double integrate, and you whatever the things it is, you get Y is equal to this formula. It is very easy and it is 100% accurate. Assuming the beam is of same cross section, and then the material is also same. What are the assumptions are there? It is there. Using those assumptions, you will find out what is the displacement of Y. Okay, so so can we find a solution using this formula? It is very, yeah, we can find. There are so many problems, MATLAB and all those things, they are there, but it is very time taking. And then also, if you have something complex geometry like this, and if you want to know what is the stress level at this location, what is the stress level at this location? If you apply a load from here, if this bolt is intact or not, so at this location, whether it is correct or not, then will it bend from here? What will happen if we apply a more load? What will happen to it? So This way, it comes a approach for a software or something. So you might be knowing this ANSYS. It is very common in universities, but we use there are a lot many softwares for this finite element method. So we will come to that one by one. So uh, using formula, yes, we can do it, but it is time consuming, and then we cannot find at each and every location what is happening. So then why we do in FEM? If it is accurate analytical method, then why we'll do it? Because it is very difficult to find the governing equations of complex geometry.
Sir,
So-
sorry to interrupt, but can you please share your screen again?
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
I was here or from where I was missed?
No, sir, you can continue.
You guys can speak if I'm very fast because I'm a fast speaker. So is it okay to speak this fast or may I be slow? So it's okay, I think then. So this is a geometry. This is an analytical problem of this cantilever beam, and using this you found a deflection at y location of y. Then it comes what is the problem when you want to find the stress values over here, over at this location. What is the bending will happen at this location. So these things can be done using your analytical approach, but it is a time taking approach also. So in this way you need a technique where you can do it very easily and very fastly, and also it is accurate. So if analytical method is accurate, then why do we use FEM? This is a question. It is difficult to find the governing equation of a complex geometry. So you have the governing equation for this. So using this governing equation, you can find the solution to this problem. So there is no any governing equation to find this. You have to superimpose so many governing equations to make a simple problem for this. And then that is the assumption also. Then you see some complex geometry. Have you seen it? So see, this is a frame of a bike, a car, sorry. So this is my lunch time. So excuse me if I'm eating. I have a meeting at from 2 to 5. So I'm doing all the things in meanwhile. Is it okay to you all?
Yes, sir, totally fine.
Okay. So these are some complex geometries. So you see the frame of a car. So is it be possible to find a governing equation and then do a paper pencil formula and then find out the solution? So it will be very difficult. Then you see the engine. This is a case of engine, a crankcase you can say. So how you will know the stress level coming at this joint? Which is the stress level at this joint? Whether this cushion, this suspension mounting will sustain the load coming from the road when it goes to bump. So these are so many engineering problems. While cornering the car, what are the force coming on this, and will it sustain these forces? So these are the things. These are the problems which we face in our real life. So to think of the real life problem, how difficult it will find the governing equation. Then it comes approach to solve any problem. So I have told you there is a real life problem. So see, a child is sitting on this table. This is a problem, and there is a leg of all this stand, a stool. So can we convert it into a mathematical problem? Yes, we can convert it into a mathematical problem. You will make a line diagram or something, and then you apply a load on this. So this is, any real life problem is a continuous problem. There is infinite number of particles, infinite number of elements. If you cut it, it will be cutted into a, if you take out a leg of this strand and then cut it into a piecewise, so you can make an infinite number of cuts. But in equivalent mathematical model, we make it a finite problem, and that's why it is called a finite element analysis, a method. So there is no difference between finite element analysis and finite element method. Both are equal. Finite element method is widely used in course books, and analysis is when you get a component and then you analyze using your finite element methods. This is analysis. So I am very used to of the word FEA, finite element analysis. So I'm FEA analyst also, so it will come to my mouth FEA, FEA, FEA. So this is finite element method analysis, and same as finite element method. So FEA uses this approach. So this is the approach where you make a mathematical model. When you make it, discretize it. Discretize means you cut it into pieces, and then you make a mathematical model for this. So to solve any mechanical engineering problem, these are the basic requirements. You need mass, stiffness, and a damper. All numerical method, including FEM, follows discrete approach. Discrete approaches means dividing a component into small pieces to form a simple piece. So take an example. For example, if you have this kind of a scale or something, so how can you make a scale? You can divide it like this and divide it to three blocks you will get, and you will assemble it in this way, so many ways, and then you get a scale like this. So this is nothing but a discretizing. So meshing is something called creating elements. So you can say this is one element, this is two element, this is three element, and element is connected using nodes. So these are the, you can say a pin. If you apply a 4-pin, then fix it, then apply 4-pin and then fix it, then apply 4-pin, then fix it. So those pins are nothing but a nodes, and a piece of this element, this structure is element. When you assemble it totally, you find it a scale. So this is all about scaling, discretization. And then you apply a load from here, something from here, you fix it from here, and then you see what is the, if you want to know what is the buckling strength of this structure, then you can find it using these formulas. So I will go through what are the things happening. So degree of freedom, you guys know, I think this is, you have fixed all direction of rotation and the translation. So we say we have fixed all DOOF. So the component which can not translate in any X, Y, and Z direction and cannot rotate about X, Y, and Z axis. So this is a problem we used to find. So I have told you what is discretization. It is a process of dividing object into finite pieces such that it represents the object. So you see this is an object, then you make it a finite pieces. So this is in 3 pieces, but object is represented. Say this is a same, what is the shape we call it, a trapezoid or a subject polynomial, I don't remember. So it is a something of a shape something. So this shape is same of the object, but it is divided into 3 elements. So 3 element is, we have discretized it, and then 3 elements are connected using these pins, and these pins are called nodes. So these are the these are the notations used in our FEA. So this is a discretization example. So you see this is a rack where you fixed it everywhere, and then you discretize it using one-dimensional element. One-dimensional is something like you say a nail or a pin, that is 1D. Then two-dimensional triangular element or something, this is a hook. You can divide it so many elements and make a hook, and there is something bracket. So this is a shell element. Shell element is like paper. You have a paper, you can bend it, fold it anywhere. And then there is a brick element. It is like a duster or a brick. So it is called a brick element. It is like a brick. So it is very hard. It has only 3 degrees of freedom, and then it has no rotations. Like if anything that is in real life, you cannot bend it like this with your hand. So this is a 3D brick element. So these are the basic library of element in our FEA. So this is a common type of element. This is 1D element. This is rod, beams, truss, frames, whatever you study in your course book. So these are the things. Then two-dimensional element. So this is a plate element, quad element, and then three-dimensional element. This is brick element or tetrahedral element. These are the types of element available in any of the packages of this FEA. So these are the things. Then it comes, what is the concept through which we can get a solution. So let's say you have a object. That object has its stiffness. Then you apply a force. Then you want what? A displacement. So this is the governing equation for any FEA solution, any FEA solver. So there is a stiffness. K is the stiffness. U is the behavior, like when you apply a force, how it will behave. So this is a behavior, and this is the action. So this is action. Property is the of the component, like a frame, like a object. It has a stiffness. So how you find the stiffness? You know area, you know Young's modulus, you know length. So you have studied in your FEA, in your strength of materials. So AE upon L, using this you can find the stiffness. So this is a property of a geometry. It is not dependent to anything related to our this any object. So these are the things. So when you do elastic analysis, then K is stiffness, this is a displacement, this is unknown. We find the unknown, and then we find the stress and the strains at this any of the locations. So these are the things widely available for any of the solution. Like if you do it for CFD, then you need to know the heat transfer, then temperature. This is conductivity, and this is the heat source. We do the CFD, then this is velocity, viscosity, and so these are the basic fundamental thing for this FEA. So let's say you have this object, and then for this object, what you do, you have discretized it. You made a small element, and on these elements you have to find the U using this formula K and F. This is a matrix formula. You find the for each and every component, and then you assemble it, and you find it on the object. So you say this is object. What we have done, we have divided it into small elements and nodes using these kind of elements, any of the elements. Then you apply a force. The software, what software does, it calculate this. It knows the stiffness, it knows the force, it find the displacement. Once displacement is found, what you comes to know, you know the strain. Once you know the strain, you know the stress. So everything which is
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Oh, why it is happening? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is a fundamental concept of it, which I was discussing. Say this is a machine or something, which you discretized it, and then you have these elements, this cell element, solid element, and 1D element. You form a discretized model. Then you set up this, like you apply a force somewhere, and you have to know the displacement. Once you know the displacement, you know the stress and strain. So any component which you have to say pass or fail, how do you do? So there are some failure criteria you have studied in your machine design, something say maximum principal stress theory and some distortion energy theory and all those things theories are there. So once you have this brittle kind of element, brittle kind of component, say a casted component or something, then what you have to find, you have to see the principal stress, maximum principal stress. So those things you find from this formula. Once you know the U, the software, what it does, it convert this U into stress and strain. So this is how, this is not, these problems cannot be solved with this laptop or this computer. You need a supercomputer like this. So any company which is using FEA uses server. You know, the server which I'm using has a space of 1000 TB and a RAM of something in TB. And then we submit a problem, something like this, a bike. It takes almost 4 to 5 hours to solve a problem and give us this output. So this is the way it is done in our industry. I will go one by one, very small way. So let us say how software calculates. So you have this bar, you have applied an axial load. Okay, so you have to find out what is the stress at this. So you know, stress is nothing but a force per unit area for axial loading. For bending it is different, for torsion it is different. So I have taken an example, a small example. So say it is this one. You know the Young's modulus, or still it is those 210 GPa. It is in Newton per mm, so 2.1 is 5. So you know the displacement U. Then from there you find the AE upon L, and then you find the displacement and this force and then stress. It is okay. So how software solve it? So it uses this formula. So what it does, it has F1 and F2, F1 and F1. Then since there are two nodes or two equations, so then this is a stiffness matrix and this is a displacement matrix. You solve for this matrix and then you get algebraic equation, and then you solve this algebra and you will find the U1 and U2. U1 and U2 is found, then you have to find the stress. So Young's modulus times the strain is equal to the stress, and you find the stress. So this is something for linear problems. For linear problems, we solve using this technique. So software, these are codings are done where the codes use this logic. This is the logic is being used. So these are the fundamental things which is happening in our FEA problems. So what are the steps involved in FEA? It's called pre-processing. So you get a CAD model like this. This is a CAD model of a bracket. You convert it into FE model. FE model is finite element model. So these are the FE models. Then what you do, this is pre-processing. Building FE model, that is meshing. You create a mesh in which you create elements, you create nodes. Then after applying force and boundary condition and finding solution, that is JEC preparation. So you have this cycle. This is a force, you apply a force from here. You apply a boundary condition, so it can translate in this direction, and it can rotate about this axis, it can rotate about this axis, but it is fixed at all the locations. So this is one of the boundary condition you apply on this, and you apply a force, and then for finding solution you submit it on a computer. You have created a FE model and then you submit it on the computer, and once the solution is found, we get a post process. So if you say you apply a force, then you find a stress. So this is a contour, say it is a stress. So at this location stress is lower, at this location stresses are higher, at this location stresses are higher. So whether this stress is above our yield, so if it is above yield, we can say it is pass or fail. If anything which is has to bear the load, then it is not only the yield, it is the ultimate strength of the material. So whether the stress is above the ultimate, so to reaching ultimate, you need nonlinearity, because the material curve is not linear for UTS and something. If you see the material curve, so if you see this is a stress or a strain, so for linear it is like this. So if you say it is a strain, my writing is with if it is a stress, then you know this stress strain diagram. So this is linear. So once the stress is in strain is increased, the stress is increased. So when you have this nonlinear problem, so up to yield point it is okay, and then it goes there, and then it breaks. So you have this. This is called a nonlinear problem. This is called a linear problem. So when we apply a where we have linear property, and it is linear problem. This is non-linear problem where you have non-linearity of this material. So if I go in these things, so it will take another 1 hour to discuss all those things. So this is the overview. So this, if it is a linear analysis, then we are basically focused till this point. If stress is above this, there is no significance, because above this the stress is not linear. This is non-linear stress. So for a safe design, when you apply a load, if it is below yield, then the material will come to its initial position also. So failure will not happen if you have an exact problem for this. So this is the way you find the stress. Then you find, oh, this slot is creating problem to this stress. Then what you say? You say the designer to fill this slot, and then you see the stress. So this is called the iterative process. So once it is okay from your side, you say go ahead and apply and develop it. So once it is developed, then you again test it, because maybe somehow you have missed something. So it should be tested, so that end user get a finished and good product. So this is the way it is done. So this is the example. So you have some bracket there. This you see there are some high stresses here. So what you will suggest to designer, you will suggest to a CAD modeler to make it a small hole or something, so that this kind of concentration should not come. So this is a stress concentration which you have studied in your chain design or solid mechanics or something. So stress concentration, it may yield to crack from here. It will this component will crack from here. So either you can change from a circle to make it a oval like this. So these are the iterations which you suggest, and then you make a finished product. If you see this is a arm, so you see there is a something stress. So what you will suggest, you add a fillet here or something using this stress. So once the fillet is added, so this stress is lower, and then you can release it for the material. So these are some examples which can be done using finite element analysis. So there are some advantages. So you can visualize the result at each and every nodes. So if you want to optimize it, you want to remove the material. So this is the gray zone where the stress is very less. So this is a blue zone, this is the gray zone. So if you want to add hole, you can add hole here, because it is not getting loaded with the applied load. So there is no stress here. You can cut the material, you can save the material. So this is how visualization is good. Design cycle time reduces, number of prototypes get reduces. The testing is in one shot. You can go ahead with testing, and you can find optimum design. What you have told you, this optimum design is creating a hole from here, either making a 2 holes here. You can make a slot like this, so it can be made. If it is not boltable area, then you can do like this also. So these are the things can be done in FEA, So that's it from my side, and thanks for listening to me. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'm here for another 5 to 10 minutes. Then I will leave because I have another meeting at 2:05.
So it is very useful session. I think all the members joined this meeting enjoyed a lot. If anyone has any query, they can ask one by one. Give a thumbs up in the chat box. I will announce their name and you can unmute your mic. Is there any query?
I think no queries there. I think it is.
Yeah, sir. I also think the same.
I think either it is not understand. It is not by understand by anyone, or everyone understood everything. Only two things that happened. So you can talk to me. How is this is my first interaction with you people to the college or anywhere. Since I'm in a design team, R&D team, there are so many restrictions from my companies, so we cannot do these kind of things unannounced with companies, because there are every person and every design, there are so many restrictions. So I will request you people not to put my name at any forum. If you want to add any forum, you can talk with Vikas. He will guide you to reach to me. You on LinkedIn you can connect to me, but don't put on YouTube or anywhere, because that will be difficult for me also. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and spreading knowledge. It is absolutely a fantastic session. All the Parva team and me, a member of GC Baka, is thanking you for this session. Now I can take your permission to end this session, sir.
Yeah, sure. And I will share this PPT to Vikas or Lakshita, and if you guys need, you can take it. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Take care and study well.
Bye, sir.
And do some invention to engineering. Bye bye.
Bye, sir.